Hey guys, it's Corinne, and I am here because I want to share with you Neville Goddard's 3-step process for creating anything that your heart desires. I have been reading through his book, The Power of Awareness. I read through this in the spring when I was taking my kids on a trip to Costa Rica. So I read it on the plane, and I was just amazed at how much knowledge is in this book. Like, I have underlines and notes on blank spaces, and so it's amazing. And I wanted to share it with you as I've been rereading it and working on elevating my life to the next level. I thought that it would be great to share this with others because I'm fascinated with Neville Goddard. I've studied a lot of personal development books, and there is truly a connection between the spiritual world and the physical world. And as I'm learning, some of you may already be learning that our inner world is what creates our outer world. And let me just put a disclaimer here. That does not mean that you don't take action. It means that it starts within. And if you can listen, you will hear the inspired actions that come to you. So I believe that law of attraction, creation, manifestation is not about sitting on a couch and waiting for money to fall on your head or waiting for your dream spouse to just land in your lap. But the starting point of all achievement, of all that we create, begins within ourselves. And then there is the action component. So I'm very excited. And at the end, I'm going to share a recent personal success story that I have that involves these Neville Goddard techniques. So, chapter 5, the truth that sets you free. The drama of life is a psychological one in which all the conditions, circumstances, and events of your life are brought to pass by your assumption. Since your life is determined by assumptions, you are forced to recognize the fact that you are either a slave to your assumption or their master. Now, he uses the word assumption. You could also use the word belief. Your beliefs, what beliefs you have, determine how you see the world and what you believe is possible, and ultimately determines your actions. So, here we go. Since your life is determined by your assumptions or beliefs, you are forced to recognize the fact that you are either a slave to your assumptions or their master. To become the master of your assumption is the key to undreamed of freedom and happiness. You can attain this mastery by deliberate conscious control of your imagination. You determine your assumption in this way. Form a mental image, a picture of the state desired of the person you want to be. Concentrate your attention upon the feeling that you are already that person. First, visualize the picture in your consciousness, then feel yourself to be in that state as though it actually formed around your surrounding world. By your imagination, that which is a mere mental image is changed into a seemingly solid reality. The great secret is a controlled imagination and a well-sustained attention firmly and repeatedly focus on the object to be accomplished. It cannot be emphasized too much that by creating an ideal within your mental sphere, by assuming that you are already that idea, you identify yourself with it and therefore transform yourself into its image, thinking from the idea instead of thinking of the idea. Every state is already there as mere possibilities, as long as we think of them, but overpoweringly real when we think from them. This was called by the ancient teachers subjection to the will of God, or resting in the Lord. And the only true test of resting in the Lord is that all who do rest are inevitably transformed into the image of that which they rest, thinking from the wish fulfilled. You become according to your resigned will, and your resigned will is your concept of yourself and all that you consent to and accept as true. You assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continuing therein, take upon yourself the results of that state. Not assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are ever free from your results. When you understand the redemptive function of imagination, you hold in your hands the key to the solution of all your problems. Every phase of your life is made by the exercise of your imagination. Determined imagination alone is the means of your progress, of the fulfilling of your dreams. It is the beginning and end of all creating. The great secret is a controlled imagination and a well-sustained attention. Firmly and repeatedly focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it fills the mind and crowds all other ideas out of consciousness. What greater gifts could be given you than to be told the truth that will set you free? The truth that sets you free is that you can experience in imagination what you desire to experience in reality. And by maintaining this experience in imagination, your desire will become an actuality. You're limited only by your uncontrolled imagination and lack of attention to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When the imagination is not controlled and the attention not studied on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, then no amount of prayer or pity or invocation will produce the desired effect. When you can call upon at will whatsoever image you please, when the forms of your imagination are as vivid to you as the forms of nature, you are the master of your fate. You must stop spending your thoughts, your time, and your money. Everything must be an investment. And he's referring to your investment of your thoughts there. So I wanted to break down what I view as his 3 steps to creating anything that you desire. And then I want to share with you one recent incident and how this has done a magnificent job for me. Okay, so step 1, Neville states, is first visualize the picture in your consciousness. That's in your mind. So visualize that. Now, the reason I think that you need to go back to this repeatedly is, you ever try to visualize something or think about something, when you go to recall and you close your eyes and you think about it, sometimes you only see part of it, but the more you think about it, you add detail and you begin to add more and more reality to it. And you essentially are creating a mental version of what your desire is. So, first step is to visualize a picture, your picture of the life that you would have in your consciousness. That is step number 1. Step number 2 is to feel it as though you are surrounded by it throughout your world. It's formed in your surrounding world. It is what you see. And then he said, the great secret is the controlled imagination and well-sustained attention repeatedly on the object to be accomplished. So for me, what he's saying is that the third step is to go back to it, to go back to it, to go back to it. You can't just do something one time and expect to have fruits of the labor. When we are creating it, we create with our imagination, but everything we imagine does not manifest. And I believe the reason why is that we don't give it the vivid tones that he talks about, and we don't go back to it. Our belief or our assumption is not in line with what we desire. So if there is something that you desire, but you just can't conceive of having it, there's a disconnect between your heart and your mind. You want to mentally know, you want to, in your heart of hearts, know what you want, and then mentally create it in your consciousness. And then you need to see it in your surrounding world as already being fulfilled. What type of person am I going to be? What does my life look like now that I have a wonderful business or a wonderful home or a wonderful marriage? So you have to cultivate. We are cultivating a new state of being, and then we identify ourselves with that. So instead of thinking of, oh, one day I'm going to have a beautiful house, I'm going to get that, there's a separation. You're not in that scene, you're not attached to it. So you want to put yourself in the position of already possessing what your heart desires, and then asking yourself, what does it feel like now that I have a fabulous home with an in-ground pool and a beautiful master suite? How do I wake up every day? And you just want to close your eyes and go into that space and assume that being and be that person. And then the great secret is a controlled imagination and well-sustained attention. And he goes back to the last two paragraphs in this chapter and says, you are only limited by your uncontrolled imagination and your lack of attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When the imagination is not controlled and the attention is not studied on the feeling, then no amount of prayer, pity, or invocation will produce it. So you have to inwardly be feeling and experiencing what you imagine in your reality now. And that oftentimes when I am doing my midday recheck or repositioning, going back to, okay, Corinne, what are we creating? What world, what lens am I seeing my life through? What slide am I projecting? I feel myself straighten my back. I feel myself get more confident. When you assume that feeling of what you desire, of what you want to be, and you connect with it, there is a power, there is an energy, there is a spiritual uplifting in your heart and in your mind together at once. And that is what creates your new reality, because you have just identified with what you want and you feel it. Okay? So what I would like to share with you is a quick story about my online business, shopwinebar.com. If you're interested, I sell entertainment furniture like bars and poker tables and everything you need to entertain your guests in your home. So I am in the process of building up my suppliers, and I work with only US manufacturers. And one thing that I am doing is there's this one manufacturer that I absolutely love. Phenomenal products. I've been to the trade shows in Las Vegas and North Carolina, and I'm trying to open up a dealer account, but they don't want to open up a online only dealer account. They want you to have a brick and mortar and buy all this inventory. I'm not doing that. I have my online dealer account. And so what I began to do was, once they rejected me the first time on the phone, I just closed my eyes and I pretended that I opened the account. Okay, I didn't get the news that I wanted, so I'm going to rewrite the script and that I've received the account. And so I wouldn't do this frequently. I did it a handful of times, and then I repeatedly asked to work with them as a business partnership, and I repeatedly got turned down in person, via email, over the phone. They just said no. So this one particular day, which literally was only a week ago, I'm writing down my goals. Once I get my kids off to school, I like to kind of just sit by myself for a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just write down in my journal the wonderful life that I'm creating and that I live. And I'm looking at my business and I'm saying, I now work with this brand right now. And in my heart of hearts, I'm like, oh yeah, I really got to do something. And I could feel this lack and separation. I was identifying with the Corinne that does not work with this manufacturer. I was identified with the Corinne that still needs to get with them. So This one particular day, I was like, all right, I had enough. I know that I create my own reality from the inside out. I am creating the reality where I work with Howard Miller, where I have my online account set up and where their products are loaded on my store and I'm selling their products every day. And so I would close my eyes, go into my space and just look and just visualize my website and think about how amazing it is now that their products are on there. The bars look so beautiful. They have these luxurious high bar stools. They're super posh and I'm just loving it. And this one particular day, I remember having a cup of tea and I'm writing in my journal about Howard Miller. And then I go into a quiet space where there's no thought. I'm not thinking about anything. And then I start to visualize. What do I want for my company? You know, I'm receiving orders every day. I'm receiving X amount of profit every month. And I'm just excited. I'm like, yes, I love that I get orders every day. I love that I take care of my customers. I love that I am making amount of money every single month. And then this thought keeps popping in my head, like, email Howard Miller. And I'm like, I don't want to harass them. I just emailed him 2 weeks ago and he didn't answer. And then I'm getting all excited in my visualization again, and I just keep getting interrupted by this thought to email Howard Miller and tell him about the big businesses. I'm like, big business? Yeah, that's the title of your email, big business. Okay, big business. I'm going to write Howard Miller another email and tell them I know I'm not a big business like Amazon and explain to them why I'm better than Amazon because I'm not so big. So, long story short, I finished my visualization, which was only about 15 minutes. I sit down to my computer and I was like, all right, I'm writing Howard Miller email. I got the rep's contact info there. We've corresponded. Sometimes he would ignore my email. Sometimes he would reply no. But this particular time, I didn't want to harass him and ask for anything. I felt like I was harassing him in the past when you email someone repeatedly and they don't reply. But this particular time, I said, okay, I am going to share with him my feeling that I am excellent. I'm great to work with. I give great customer service. My customers email me. I call them. They call me. We have a rapport and they probably just want to work with big ass companies. I'm not a big ass company. I'm a small company and that's okay. So the title of my email was Big Businesses. And then it literally was only like 5 sentences long. And I said, dear Tony, he's my contact there. I know that I can't outsell Amazon. I know I can't do the sales volume that Amazon will do, but I have something that those other guys do not offer. Personalized service. And that's what I've always aimed to deliver in my business since I started it, was that human connection that a lot of times you don't get when you're ordering online. I want to deliver that personalized service, you know, where people call you, where they check in, where you're not just waiting 2 days to hear back from a robot email. So I put that in there. I know I can't compete with them on value, sales volume. And I tell them why I do it better. And then the next sentence was, I know that you have a lot of demand for new online retailers, but your company is not just another collection I want to slap up on my store. It's special, and I do truly believe that, which is why I've been pursuing this product. And I believe that I will represent your brand well and sell your product because I love the timeless elegance that the brand represents. And then I ended it with like something like, thanks for your consideration. And then I was happy about it. I'm like, yes, I told that man how I felt and he can take it or leave it, honestly. I love their collection. I know I'm not Amazon and I know they have a lot of things in demand, but so what? I'm Corinne. I love this collection. I love this product and they manufacture what I sell and I want to work together. So I let it ride. I went back to my day-to-day, although I was feeling very fired up and really high-fired and just like really elevated after doing my my journaling technique and visualizing the business the way I want it to be, creating in my inner world visualizing it and then creating that experience and being in it. That was totally identified with selling their brands. I'm totally identified with receiving orders every day. And then I just went about my day and took my action, but I still had that felt experience, and I go back to it. And so literally within 1 hour, okay, I got a response from the rep that said, your account has been opened. Here's your account number. Here's the files you need to load our products on your website. And it was done. Done. Okay? Just like this 3-step process. Done, done, done. I visualized it. I created that felt experience. And then I kept getting this thought of to email this company who I just emailed 2 weeks ago and they didn't respond. So I ignored the outside world. I created in my inner world, and I identified with what I wanted, who I am, and I created a new me. I identified with Corinne that sells this product every day, and I love it. You know, that passion, that love, there's so much power in the heart that you can move mountains with, I believe. So, and then I went back to it. I will say one thing is that the day that it happened, I did have a bit of detachment of I don't give a ripness about it. Like, okay, I told him how I felt about it. He can take it, he can leave it. But I knew he was going to email me back. I knew he could not resist it because real recognized real, okay? I spoke the truth to him. He felt it. He received it. And he did what I asked him to do. And so there's a lot of lessons in there. If you want to know the 3-step process, the Neville Goddard way, the way I am elevating and creating the life that I desire to live, number 1, create a visual image of it. And you do that repeatedly because the more you go back to that image, the more you go back to it, you are adding more details, more vividness, more sounds, more sight. You are connecting, and then place yourself in it. What is the feeling like now that you are selling this man's products? Now that you're receiving orders every day? Now that you're driving the car of your dreams? And you can't have this neediness about it because that is desperation. That is not creation. That is, oh, I don't have it. I need a car. I need a house. I need a man. No, you're not going to receive or create anything out of desperation. It doesn't happen. It happens by cultivating the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by cultivating that person that you are already it and celebrating it and saying yes. And with that feeling of yes, that feeling of celebration brings a confidence, it brings an assumption, it brings a knowing that it is done. And it does not matter what the outside shows you. You may not have, doesn't matter. Put yourself in the center of where you want to be and see the world through rose-colored lenses. See the world the way you want it to be. And then let go and take action. If the thought occurs to you to send that person one more email, send it. If the thought occurs to you to say hello when you to a woman or a man when you're in the coffee shop or at the grocery store, listen. Go do it. You know why? Because you have elevated your state to that place that you are already that. So you're picking up, you're receiving higher thought vibrations that are in line with it. And you got to take action. You can't just sit on the couch or on the computer and think that it's going to hit you out the sky. Visualize it, cultivate it with you in it, and come back to that feeling persistently. He says you've got to experientially sustained attention firmly and repeatedly on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, on the feeling until it fills the mind and crowds out all other ideas. That is the removing of the doubt. When you are 80% feeling it, you have pushed out all the other doubt. And that is how I have used this to create things in my life. Okay? The other thing I would say about Neville is that try your visualizations at nighttime right before you fall asleep, and fall asleep to that wish fulfilled. And you may see some magic in your life. All right? Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Take care.